Welcome to Tech News Briefing. It's Thursday, September 14th. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Like other industries, the fashion world is being disrupted by artificial intelligence. Generative AI platforms like Midjourney or DALL-E can render uncanny lifelike models with a mere text prompt, allowing brands and retailers to create images of models wearing their clothes far cheaper and faster than setting up a photo shoot. They could also expand the kind of people we see in these ads, offering more diversity in body size and backgrounds. But like anything AI, there are concerns. Here to discuss that is Katharine Zarrella, the fashion director for WSJ Off Duty. Katharine, can you start by telling us about Levi, which was one of the big brands that said it was going to use this tech?
So Levi announced back in March that it was going to start experimenting with AI-generated models. And the rationale was that on their website, you can see their garments on one, maybe two models, and they wanted to personalize the experience for users so that they would be able to see clothes on models of different shapes, sizes, and races. When they announced this, they announced that they were partnering with a company in Amsterdam called La La Land AI. And there were some people that were very excited, but there was also a lot of backlash. A lot of people on social media and platforms like Reddit were saying, why wouldn't you just hire a model from a more diverse background or a marginalized community instead of generating one through AI? And people were concerned that it was a cop-out rather than an actual step toward diversity.
Are there human models raising similar concerns to, say, actors or writers or artists about how this AI could affect their livelihoods?
I spoke with Sarah Ziff, who is the founder of the Model Alliance, which advocates for models and people working in the fashion industry. And the larger concern is not that it's going to completely wipe out flesh and blood models, but that models' images and likenesses are going to either be used to A, educate the AI so that it can take elements of their aesthetic and incorporate it into the very lifelike model that it creates. Then the model won't A, know this or be compensated for that. And the other concern is with things such as deep fakes, a model, her image could be sold to someone and she's not aware of it. And then she could be made to do and say things that she didn't sign on for, isn't getting paid for, and also might not agree with.
You mentioned the company that Levi is working with, La La Land AI. What has it said about those kinds of concerns around diversity and also about the use of models' likenesses?
La La Land AI was co-founded by its CEO, Michael Musandu, and he grew up in Zimbabwe and South Africa. And one of the reasons that he created this company was because he was unhappy, specifically when it comes to e-commerce and the lack of representation. He's very adamant in saying that what he does is not meant to replace flesh and blood models. It's meant to supplement what brands already have. Take that as you will. But what he does is he licenses or pays for the data from actual humans, models, etc., so that he's able to create kind of an income source for different marginalized communities.
He's not the only one with a company who's building systems to create these AI models. What have others said about trying to get more diversity of models through AI technology?
I spoke with Cameron Wilson, who created the company The Digitals, and the company's based in the UK. And what Cameron does is combine traditional photography with 3D generated models. So there are components of AI, but not necessarily generative AI in the creation of these models. You may have seen Shudu on Instagram. It's billed as the first ever virtual supermodel, and Naomi Campbell re-Instagrammed it, and it was, a big sensation. Often with Shudu for various campaigns, a different model will be hired to actually wear the clothing, and it will be a model of color. And then using various tools, an image will be 3D generated that combines the model that was photographed and Shudu. So you get this kind of almost CGI-like image, like something you might see in a video game, even though I was fooled multiple times. It is hyper realistic. Another project that Cameron did with the Digitals was create what again is billed as the first influencer with Down syndrome. And through machine learning, they worked with 100 different women with Down syndrome to avoid any kind of biases. It took all of that information and then combined it to create the image of this influencer known as Cami, who is now on Instagram.
We were talking about Levi as one of the major brands who said they were going to use AI models. Are there other big companies that have gone down this road?
Yes, and all of the experts that I spoke with seem to believe that we're going to see a lot more of it in the not too distant future. A while back, Calvin Klein, I'm sure everyone has seen the ad from a few years ago with Bella Hadid and Michaela, who was one of the first virtual influencers on Instagram. And she, again, is this 3D rendered or, CGI influencer. So not necessarily AI generated. We also last year saw the cosmetics company NARS launch its Power Players, which are 3, they call it digitally native ambassadors. And they're made with the help of this 3D creation. And they used Unreal Engine, which is a program that you'll see creating a lot of avatars in video games. And they wanted them to be diverse and be able to interact in places where a human influencer or model might not be able to interact. So say the metaverse or a video game. But again, it's more of the novelty there rather than them trying to replace the models that they already work with.
All right, that's the fashion director of Off Duty, Katharine Zarrella. And that's it for Tech News Briefing. Today's show was produced by Julie Chang with supervising producer Melanie Roy. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening.